welcome to this week's broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Rocket League. We're broadcasting it from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. It's time for our week 3 of the Spring Rocket League Rumble, and we'll be bringing you the Octane bracket. Once again, it's stacked with top-tier teams, and who will end up coming out on top this week. I'm your host, Artie Nerdy Bird Rain, and joining me to call all of the action is Joe Tacky Chickbrow. All right, so it's been a little bit for me. However, you got to witness all the shindigs that happened last week. Yes. So with that in mind, what are you hoping to see this week that's different from what you saw last week?
Well, I'd like to preface it with all the shindigs were exciting to watch. It felt like there was a complete shift in the play style from a lot of the teams. A lot of offense played was something that I definitely mentioned overall. But something I'm kind of hoping a little bit more this kind of week is keep the offense, but let's clean up the defense so that the offense has some legs to stand on. Because it felt like as much as there was a lot of pressure and a lot of aggression being built up, it was kind of thrown away really quickly by bad midfield presence.
I feel like that's the conversation we've been having quite a bit, is controlling the midfield and having good midfield presence. So hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more of that this week, and if not, then coaches, please, in those VOD reviews, let's get that honed down on so we can stop bringing it up here on desk. So we will, as I mentioned, we'll be bringing you 2 brackets this week. These featured brackets are going to be the Octane Cup as well as the Fennec Cup. Our Octane bracket features 2 teams from last week, the Vipers and the Spiders, joining the Lions and the Barracudas from last week. All the series are going to be a best of 5. And here is exactly how the Esports Tower Rumble will work out. You can also see this is all of today's competitors, which is Swerve, Vipers, Gators, Barracudas, Hammerheads, Lions, and Spiders.
Well, definitely last week it was really exciting to see the Spiders play. I think it's my understanding the first time that I got to see them play, and they played really well.
Yes, that was the first time for you at least.
Yeah, for me at least. It was really exciting to see them play. They really showcased a lot of that aggression. There were a couple matches where I saw a little bit more of that defense start to come into play too, and I think that's why it led them to a lot of success last week. And I'd really like to see if they've made any adjustments or if they're kind of going to go with the same strategy that they went with last time.
All right, well, let's hope they made those adjustments. And before we get ready to jump into our first match, we got to bring you our traditional Docs keys to the game presented today by Esports Tower, where you can score pro advice at esportstower.com. And Docs keys to the game today are create mistakes, punish the overcommits, play the walls better, and demo in the goal. I'm going to add the play the midfield a little bit better. That's Artie and Tacky's advice from the desk. Today's Docs keys are presented by Esports Tower, where you can score pro advice and improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. And to everyone who is watching, before we jump into this first match, and for our friends on Twitch, we want to remind you to support your team, celebrate the successes, and be respectful to the other fans. Mods will remove anyone who violate these chat rules. All right, so we're going to be gearing up to jump into our first game, which is going to be between the Vipers and the Spiders. As I mentioned, this is going to be a best-of-5 series. So definitely the opportunity for reverse sweep territory, even if a team goes down 2 in the beginning. Don't give up hope that they won't be able to make it out alive, because there's always time for improvement as we go into this first kickoff. We do see that Enzo's going to bring it off the wall and do some fantastic aerial play, but it does get dumped down below them and allowing Thrift to grab it off the wall in the corner.
Already we're seeing some pretty aggressive approaches, but not a whole lot of double commits, which is super, super nice to see. This clean Rocket League is always a lot more entertaining, and there's a lot more going on that can happen because every player is committed to some part of the play.
My apologies, I am completely blanking right now because there is a return of a player on the side of the Spiders team that's making me very excited. Thank you so much for coming back, Quez. It's great to see you again in Esports Tower Rumble. It's been a while. Welcome back to what I hope is one of your favorite hobbies to be participating in. And right now the Spiders got the first goal. That was a fabulous one done by Enzo. We got Enzo dunking it down in front of the goal to do a follow from Dez. And somehow the ricochet and a follow-up touch will find a second goal for the Spiders.
A great start for the Spiders there. And it looks like already the Spiders are taking that aggression that they had last week and kind of using it as their go-to win con for these games. And I really like to see them in their comfort zone using that aggression that's been kind of their sparking moment for them and make the other teams kind of play around them. That's a really impressive thing to be able to do.
We'll see if they can continue to keep that up. One thing that some casters will mention is that we want teams that are always playing proactively and not having to be the reactive team, and it does look like both these teams have that capability. Quez going for their signature aerial play, unfortunately does get stolen, and we have Thrift pop it up to try and play it around 2. It's going to get packed off the back wall to try and be a rebound. Risky play works out. Quez now pulling it forward, crossing the midfield stripe, goes for a shot on goal, but it's taken away by Thrift and volleyed to the back third of the Viper side of the field, and a great save from Dez brings it back to the mid.
And you can see how the Spiders are trying to take control of the midfield even now through lots of dribbling, going for flicks, looking for each other on occasion when the opportunity presents itself. They just seem right now to be a lot more aware of what's going on in the midfield. Even situations like that, a thwarted effort via Thrift. However, it was a really good attempt at a passing play coming off the ball from the Spiders.
Speaking of Thrift, Thrift and Wilds have actually been playing a ton together and have how quickly they'll be able to work Zydra into the mix of their dynamic duo is going to be important here. Will they be able to get on the same page quick enough to pull it together as a team and come out on top of this game, or is it going to be more like the playing more reactively and just trying to hold their ground? They are currently down by 2 as we're crossing into the back half territory. Will we get the second half boost coming out from the Vipers here, or will the Spiders continue to gain the lead here as they're currently up by 2 and Vipers have nothing on the board? And as I say that, Wilds tells me to shut the heck up because the Vipers now have a 1-goal differential. No one's in safe territory. Spiders looking for the security goal. Vipers looking for the equalizer.
Yeah, and right then it just kind of felt like the Vipers punished and capitalized very well on some corner confusion from the Spiders. There were a couple double commits, a couple people not quite able to get wheels on the ball, and it just felt like the Vipers saw that and reacted in a really aggressive and efficient manner.
It's really interesting you point that out because the Spiders have been focusing on offensive transitions in the past week of practice and turning good defense into scoring opportunities. So breaking down that defense shows that it's still something they're rusty on, but it's a work in progress. They do currently have the ball in the back there, the Viper side of the field. Dunked down from Quez, gets deflected all the way crossing the midfield mark. We have Enzo volleying the ball up to Dez, who dunks it over to give it to himself. A fake out from Quez, passes past Thrift and another defender. Spiders currently up by 2, and we've got a little less than 90 seconds left.
A great play by the Spiders, a great passing play to say the least. You don't always expect that angle from teams when they just pop it up rather than hitting it to either side of the field. And so having a player that's already ready to make that shot is just shows how the Spiders team have found a way to work really well together and use their synergy to their advantage.
Let's see if they can keep up that synergy going forward from here. We've got a minute left, but we've seen teams break down in that time, but it doesn't matter. Quez with a great pass all the way, getting dug out from their side of the field. Dunks it into the goal. Spiders now up by 3. That's a goal roughly every 20 seconds now if the Vipers are looking to close this gap.
Yeah, and an amazing redirect from Quez there. And honestly, I'm really excited to see this confidence that I was kind of hoping to see earlier today.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The reason why I got so excited is Quez is one of the few players that actually has been with Esports Tower kind of since its inception. And we've missed them quite a bit for the majority of the spring semester and a portion of the winter season as well. So seeing them return is quite nice. They were on the top squad of the Barracudas for an extended period of time, and they've now since moved over to the Spiders. And I feel like they're playing a great role and meshing well with this new team. This actually is a brand new Spiders roster as a whole, so hopefully that's not something that's a deficit. I mean, right now it's not showing as one. They are working like a well-oiled machine with another shot on goal turned away by Zydra.
Yeah, and like I was saying before, the confidence that I'm expecting out of a team like Spiders is definitely there. The aggression is there, but the defensive prowess is also there. Some slight mistakes that led to maybe 1 goal from the Vipers, but it's not something that they can't clean up. And as a warm-up game, that was definitely a win.
I mean, let's be honest, we're all human beings. People make mistakes. Even professional players in every game, you can see hesitancy. I mean, we're all human. Honestly, that was a fantastic game. It was really nice to opener game because this is still a best of 5. The Vipers are not down and out just yet. There's no one going into match point after this second game either. Plenty of time for them to pull this one back. And one of the things that all the Esports Tower teams are notorious for is actually using the first game as more of a means of scouting and analysis and then adjusting during that second one. So we can probably anticipate seeing that from the Vipers in this next match.
Totally agree. I definitely don't think the Vipers are out. They show that they have what it takes last week. They have the offense to make it work. It's just a lot of the time wrapping up that defense that's most important to them.
I mean, Zydra is a fantastic defensive player, and then Wilds and Thrift, those two, when they're able to connect those passes, I think honestly just some of their rotations were a little bit out of sync this time. They are a force to be reckoned with, and Thrift does a fantastic job of getting in passing lanes as well and opening up opportunities for their team. So let's see if that pays off here. We do have the ball immediately getting pulled out of the back third of the Spider side of the field, on the back third of the Vipers now. Shot's going to do that, an awkward bounce off the back wall. Zydra's going to send it all the way to the back corner on the Spider side of the field. Enzo gets in the passing lane, taking away from Zydra. Thrift trying to corral it in the corner now is going to bump heads with Enzo, so neither is going to get possession. Dez pops it over but loses it, allowing Wilds to pick it up and bring it to the back third of the Spider side of the field.
Already we can see the Vipers trying to use the exact same method the Spiders used against them last game. And this aggression and passing play and midfield presence from Vipers is definitely a really nice, fresh drink of water for this Vipers team.
One thing that I have noticed in the past is that we've got a couple Esports Tower teams and players that are very comfortable with aerial play, but the ability to challenge that aerial play is something that many of the players struggle with. However, I'd like to point out that Dez did a fantastic job of going in the air and dunking the ball down from one of the Vipers players about 2 plays ago. So that just goes to show how confident everyone on both these teams is when it comes to their aerial prowess. We've got Quez trying to keep the ball in the air. Unfortunately, they'll lose their dribble. We also see a demolition come out, but Dez pops it up, and Thrift ends up stealing that away. Got to be careful about that. Shot on goal is going to get saved, though.
Yeah, right now I'm seeing a couple instances at least where the Spiders are kind of on top of each other. And I have to wonder if enough of those mistakes are eventually going to lead to a Vipers leading game so far. But definitely both teams aren't out of it yet. It's still an 0 scoreline at almost 2 minutes in, so lots of Rocket League left to play.
Oh!
As I say that.
Since we aren't going to see the replay from the looks of it, it actually seemed like one of the Spiders players bumped into, I believe that was Wilds on that shot on goal, and ended up allowing Wilds to get in front of them more and push the ball in yet again. It happens. It's one of those, if you were there, it was going to go in. If you were there or weren't there, it was going to go in either way. It's okay. It's just one goal. You can bring it back. Hopefully no one gets mentally tilted after that.
Yeah, like I said, there's still a lot of Rocket League to play, and if there's anything the Spiders showed us last series, that they're more than capable of finding the back of the net, so they definitely can't feel too discouraged right now, especially with seasoned veterans with Quez.
Yes, I mean, Quez is a seasoned veteran, but everyone on the other side of the Vipers is also seasoned at this point as well. Enzo has quite a bit of time within the program from the Spiders as well. Dez, I've not seen as much, so if one of the Esports Tower coaches wants to correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure they're one of the fresher faces when it comes to this series. However, they are meshing well with the team as a whole. We got a shot on goal from Quez, and it's going to go right in. Spiders only down by 2 as we cross the 2-minute 30-second mark. Well, Spiders only down by 1 as we cross that mark.
And we're in a very similar spot that we were at this time last game, with now the Spiders being the only difference because they're the ones that are looking for the equalizer rather than the Vipers. And so I imagine that this shift in momentum for the Vipers is probably that extra boost of confidence they need after what felt like a pretty disastrous last game for them.
You got Wilds taking the ball in mid-flight away from Dez, dragging it down to the back third of the Spider side of the field. It's going to get stolen away by Enzo, tries to dunk it down to Dez, disrupted by Zydra. That's getting in that passing lane like I mentioned earlier, but instead of it being Thrift or Wilds, it's Zydra showing that they can do it too. Oh, over rotation, but Thrift races back in time to save that ball from going in the goal.
A little bit of some whiffing here at the midfield, kind of a lot of psyching each other out. And eventually Wilds just gets control of it, and I think that's honestly been what's been the difference maker for Vipers so far, is that they've been doing a lot better job of not giving up control of the ball and finding ways to get past that midfield line that don't require giving up too many players.
I also was noticing in that earlier first half of this game in particular, we had a lot of the Spiders. There was at least 2 instances where I noticed 2 stacked in the goal as though they were almost afraid to leave it because they're just not opening up their comms enough to talk about rotations and to make sure someone is back there. It seems like they're getting away from that and warming back up again. 2 shots on goal from Quez, hitting the crossbar. Follow-up from Enzo, hits the crossbar again. That 4th player you could always guarantee to be there. They never move. Has the worst relationship with everybody on the field, but comes in clutch for the Vipers 3 times in a row.
And I definitely think the communication breakdown is a part of it for Spiders because it kind of feels like once they get into the offensive half, once they're in the Vipers half of the field, they link up a little bit more. But probably on the defensive end, they're not totally sure how each other feel with each of their roles, probably not as experienced with each other as they could be, and it's probably just a symptom of the communication just not quite being there yet.
And that is something that will come with time. I mean, at the end of the day, this whole program is about improvement, not rather than just, getting a title. Winning a title as a first week as a team together would be pretty rad. However, it's always a goal to shoot for, and hopefully everyone understands what silver medal syndrome is and knows that you deserve to be on these teams. You're fantastic players, and regardless of winning or coming in second, you still did amazing. As the time ticks down, we're looking for a buzzer beater. Can we get it? Maybe, but it's on the wrong side of it is on the right side of the field for the Spiders to do that. Wilds is looking to close this out by hitting on the ground. Quez pops it up, but I think, yes, it's going to hit the ground. And with that, we are now equalized, one aside as far as the series goes. No one at match point. Next game still ain't going to send anybody in match point now.
Yeah, definitely an exciting series to say the least. I'm really hoping, honestly, it's good Rocket League all around, but I'm still really hoping that we take this to a Game 5 and take us to an overtime because both these teams are capable of it. They have some really immaculate offense. They're really good at punishing mistakes, so I'd really like to see where it goes next.
All right, so we've got one vote for a Game 5 on the desk. You know what? I'm going to say that, too. I mean, opening up a whole broadcast of the Game 5 is always very fun. I don't know about the overtime, though, because sometimes y'all like to make us suffer up here, and we've seen 8-minute-long Rocket League overtimes, and my goodness, is that anxiety-inducing. So if we do go to that, please close it out fast. And I'm very sorry to whomever team gets the game closed out fast on them, but I appreciate it when that does happen. And we're about to jump into our third game of this best-of-5 series. And let's see how this one shakes out. And after that, someone's going to be at match point. But if someone else wins, then we're going to guaranteed go to a Game 5. So we'll have to wait and see. The next 10 minutes, technically, are going to be the telltale signs of what will happen.
While those 8-minute overtimes are very stressful, it can be stressful in the roller coaster kind of way, where afterwards you realize just how much fun it was. But definitely I wouldn't be surprised if I see the Vipers or the Spiders kind of run away with this series. I mean, that kind of aggressive offense combined with any kind of defense can be really an unstoppable powerhouse in the right team's hands. And once they get going, sometimes all you need is that positive momentum to keep the comms up and keeps the vibes in the right direction.
One thing I do notice that the Spiders are doing is just slight overcommits on goal-scoring opportunities, seeing all three of them kind of bunch up into the corner on that first commit here to try and get a shot on goal. And we do see Enzo and Dez collide there, and then Quez over-rotates as well. Zydra Wilds in front of everybody from the Spiders, and as I'm mentioning it, it becomes their Achilles heel. Vipers now up by 1. And it took 49 seconds, but, I mean, that's still plenty of time to equalize it out. We'll have to see what happens. They won the last game by 1. It was low scoring compared to our first one, but it seems like whatever they did between Game 1 and Game 2 is working.
Definitely have to agree there, and probably this is starting to feel a lot of pressure for the Spiders now. They came out swinging the first time, and now the Vipers are taking control of last game, and they've taken control of the first parts of this game as well. So I feel like the Spiders are definitely going to have some kind of conversation, whether this game goes well for them or not, in between what happens after this game and the next one.
They're still going through growing pains being a new roster together, so it'll get cleaned up over time. It just takes time for people to get comfortable with one another. It's a part of making a new team. It happens to everyone. Let's see if they can pull themselves out of the woods, though. They're only down by 1. We still have plenty of Rocket League left, especially even in this game itself, with 3 minutes and 19 seconds still on the clock. Quez goes up, playing it off the back wall. Slightly awkward angle. Dez, though, for the follow-up, gets the shot in and finds the back of the net. We are now tied. However, I will point out yet again, overcommit on a goal-scoring opportunity. There was no one near the back half.
Yeah, I mean, definitely an aggressive posture there from the Spiders, but you have to hand it to Quez. That was an extremely good pass. The double tap off of his team's pass against the backboard, putting it mid. I mean, an impressive display of mechanics, but you have to ask, what happens there if they miss?
This is what happens.
And you can see one player misses that ball for the Spiders, and the other two are just rushing back. There's no one in between the Vipers and the back of the net on that play.
You gotta watch out for those overcommits and over-rotations. Make sure someone's always ready and waiting at that back, at the midfield stripe at the least. We're close to it, so that doesn't happen again. That's twice now that the Vipers have taken goals off the Spiders, 3 times now, because the Vipers are closer to the Spiders' own goal than the Spiders are themselves. Cherry picking, you don't want to let it happen.
And it feels like maybe the Spiders are relying too much on their one teammate back on making a good play, but in reality, that last guy is oftentimes just there to stall for his team to get back. But if they don't get back, then he can't do his job.
I understand trying to facilitate one player, but that in facilitating, you need to make sure that you are still doing all of the core mechanics, which is, you know, getting in the back post, communicating with one another, and being a presence on the field. We do see Quez is actually the one to rotate back towards the goal on this play to prevent it from repeating the past mistakes that have occurred. Enzo's going to come in, play it into the corner, has to dig it out, does not have quite the follow-up angle that we want from Quez, so it's going to bounce off to the side. Thrift has to play it around Dez, can't find it. See if the rotations are playing out here. Thrift is going to elevate, pop it off the backboard, look to dunk it in the net. It's going to find its way in. Vipers now have the score that we saw from the Spiders in game 1. 1 minute, 44 seconds left on the clock. Can the Spiders pull this one out, or will we be running into a match point after this game? We'll have to wait and see.
An impressive double tap there for the Vipers, but I mean, yeah, I can't really give much more credit to the Spiders at this point. It feels like they're kind of letting Vipers run away with the game.
We have Thrifts pass the ball to Wilds. Wilds overdrives it. Dez pops it up to Quez. Quez pops it up to play it over one. They have Enzo. They leave it for them off the wall, though. Enzo will lose possession, and it doesn't pass to Thrift off the backboard. Is there a tertiary touch? There might be. Zydra at the mid tries to stop it. Now we're seeing a repeat of what the Vipers did to the Spiders. Spiders find goal number 2. Now they have to score a goal every 30 seconds just to bring us to overtime.
I mean, definitely doable.
It's doable.
We've seen a lot more goals in shorter time, but
it just ain't easy.
Has not been there for the Spiders. It felt like they got one really good passing play and that worked, and the next one kind of was just a Vipers misplay that hasn't really happened too much this entire game. And while the Spiders have felt a lot flashier this series and a lot more aggressive, I'd argue that Vipers are playing much more disciplined Rocket League, which is at the end of the day the only thing that matters.
Oh, I'm going to be honest, Enzo, I thought the crossbar was going to stop you there. And they did it in 26 seconds.
Yeah, they have plenty of time, more than enough time. They could even come out on top before in overtime at this point, but
they need to not let another goal in, though. That's very important, lest these hopes be dashed.
At that point, it would just be insult to injury. And for the Spiders team, while...
Oh, there it is. There's the insult to injury we were just discussing. That one, honestly, that was just a really good play, I feel like, because the defender went up and did exactly what you've talked about before, which is getting the defender out of position and then just going for that follow-up and got the shot in.
It was a really, really good pitch from the Vipers. I wouldn't have expected it if I was on the Spiders, but the problem was there is that they had two people basically defending the same third of the field, the same middle third. So when you beat one person in that play, you beat both of them, which is exactly what happened.
Well, now we have the Vipers at match point. Spiders only have one game punched on their ticket card for victories thus far. It's still anybody's game. As we mentioned earlier, this is a best of 5, not a best of 3. So Vipers win this one, and that's it. They close it out, and they can walk away victorious. However, they cannot let that get to their heads just yet. They have to play this next game just as clean, or they could end up allowing the Spiders themselves to put themselves at match point. Let's see how these next 5 minutes shake out.
Yeah, and if I had placed my bets right now, it would be on Vipers. It feels like the Vipers are kind of calm, cool, and collected. They know what they're doing, and they're playing to their advantages.
Yep.
As I was saying, very, very positive, aggressive play from the Vipers. And that's not to say when I say they're calm, cool, and collected that they're not playing offense as well. The thing is that they're just doing a better job of managing the offense and defense at the same time than the Spiders are right now.
Got a pop up that's from one of the Vipers players. It's going to be saved by Enzo. He's going to dunk it to Dez. Dez not looking to play it off the wall to center it up. Nope, never mind. Just going to try and pass it to someone. Zydra, though, gets in there and takes it away. Too many touches. You got to look for that give and the go. Even if there is plenty of time, know the pressure from the Vipers is going to be immediately on you once you get ball possession. So expecting that and anticipating where you need to pass is important so you're not reacting to the steal. Instead, you are being proactive.
Yeah, and this Vipers offense is still nothing to laugh about. They've been doing a really good job of finding each other in the midfield, working together to find the back of the net. Not a whole lot of solo plays on their end, and that's not to say solo plays are a bad thing, but definitely something you have to watch out for is how they're using each other very well to make plays happen.
Got Zydra who pops the ball up, making it to Wild. Dez tries to clear the ball. Thrift stops that from happening. Now Quez goes for the challenge against Zydra. Thrift rotating back to dig this ball out of the corner. They can't play it quite completely away as Enzo also got a touch on it. Dez at the midfield volleys it to Quez. It's centered up, touch from Dez, and we've now had the equalizer from the Spiders. Still plenty of time left, but now we are at the complicated 0-0.
Already a very close game. The Spiders are determined to not be done with this series yet. They really want to pull it to that game 5. And ooh,
Enzo,
weird pinch there.
That was pretty. If only the follow-up was there in time, but I'll be honest, there's 2 defenders who just dropped on the ground. I don't know if that follow-up would worked out, but you're going to turn it into a goal-scoring opportunity. At least Thrift will for themselves. Now down by 1. Spiders looking for an equalizer. Vipers looking for that safety net. Let's see who ends up getting the next goal. We got Enzo winning the kickoff, but Zydra as well as Thrift will take away that ball possession immediately.
And one thing I'm really noticing from the Vipers right now that could be a definite difference maker is how kind of unpanicked.
Ooh, taking out the goalkeeper.
But like I was saying before, they seem very unpanicked. Like I said, calm, cool, and collected. But in this case, what I mean is when weird plays happen, like that last play where there's a pinch and it bounces around right in front of their net, there's not a whole lot of double commits. Nobody's running into each other. It's very cool. They just get it out, they pass it up the field, and they get out of there as soon as possible. So it feels like they're very prepared for when the weird things happen as well as the normal things. And I think that could be a definite difference maker and why they're doing such a good job of defending the back of their net.
So the main takeaway is adaptability, but be ready for the weird.
Yeah, definitely.
Thrift did a fantastic follow-up touch there, sneaking behind both the defenders. So now Vipers are up by 1, but we're just now crossing the halfway point of this game. As we mentioned earlier, Vipers are currently up by 1 in the series and have themselves at match point. Spiders really gunning to ensure that they are not out of the series just yet, so we can have both teams at match point. See if that back half of the round boost comes through for the Spiders and they can equalize this one out or clutch it out and win it.
Definitely agree there, and the Spiders are for sure not out of it. They definitely have to do a better job knocking down those Vipers passing plays, though, because I think all 3 of their goals now this game have been really clean passing plays from one player to the midfield, or in that last time, it was the midfield player passing it to a guy in the back corner who then took a very sharp shot into the back of the net.
We have the ball lose quite a bit of momentum there, getting dunked down from Dez. Enzo sends it up to Quez. It hits the crossbar. The 4th man comes in clutch yet again. Enzo looking to keep this opportunity alive. Hits another shot in. Unfortunately, one of the Vipers players got in the lane first and did slow it down yet again. So Wilds now is able to bring it forward. Enzo going to take the ball away in the passing lane with Dez pushing through to ensure possession maintains in favor of the Spiders. Wilds, though, off the back wall will send it almost out, but Thrift is going to be there to follow it up and pop it up over 1, bring it across the midfield stripe.
Already we're seeing the Vipers kind of set up their offense a little bit more, but as I'm saying that, Casper Curse, the Spiders, get control of the ball, and oh, that was clearly over. No one up there. The ball just soared across the net. Probably, I'd have to say the Spiders weren't expecting that, because I don't know if I'd expect them to kind of just let it fly, but definitely something they have to watch out for next time. You have to play kind of like they're going to.
Enzo, that was beautiful.
Oh, I wish we had replays. The angle on that shot was just crazy.
We casters on the desk kindly request so we have the opportunity later to see the goal replays.
Please. And we're 3-3 at 30 seconds in. Definitely quite the power struggle this game. All the goals have felt impressive. I don't feel like we've seen a lot of goals that were just random breakaways this game like the other games before. It felt like every goal is earned and every goal is impressive in some way, shape, or form. And it's really exciting to see Rocket League at Esports Tower taken to this level and see just how much these players have improved.
I think you're going to get your wish, Tacky, and we're going to see an overtime. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I think we're going to. Unless there's a buzzer beater. Quez, you need to just let that one hit the ground. Come on, my friend, please. Okay, thank you. The last thing I want to see is a last-ditch, like, Hail Mary shot get volleyed back because everyone's pushed forward to try and get that shot in, and it be a buzzer beater in the sense of whomever initiated the offense. Doesn't have to work out for them. But Quez and Enzo will actually find our final golden goal 8 seconds into overtime. That was absolutely beautiful. I could not have asked for a better, game number 4. And now both teams are at match point.
Yeah, that was super, super fun to watch. And even though it was a short overtime, I really enjoyed watching it. And honestly, that might be the best 5 minutes of Rocket League, 5 minutes and 8 seconds of Rocket League that I've seen out of Esports Tower ever. Like, that was a really, really good game. That was really impressive Rocket League all around. Even that last play, it wasn't even necessarily, it's always something you can do to improve. But the Vipers really just kind of got put in a place where the Spiders made a really good passing play. Waterfall down, and they already had a person there. They were aggressive, they were in place, and they didn't let anything by them, and it was super impressive. And I'm really hoping that we get that kind of game out of Game 5 as well.
I'm hoping so as well. That was absolutely exciting. I can't argue. That was some fantastic Rocket League. Not even just from what I've casted for Esports Tower, but in general when it comes to the Rocket League I've had the opportunity to cast. That was one of the cleanest games I've seen in a very long time. So nicely done to all 6 players on the field. Now, I have a hard request. Do it again.
Well, already, definitely that power circle that I mentioned before is already here. Lots of midfield going on, but a good dunk from Dez will kind of secure the Spiders getting to play offense for the first minute. But then Thrift obviously is saying, well, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. Thrift is one of those players who's really good at getting in the passing lanes and taking those opportunities away. We have Wilds pop the ball up over 1. Quez is going to get demoed while they're trying to prevent this ball from going into the back third. Ball gets dug down. Enzo pushed too far into the goal. Can't save it. That's okay. It's goal number 1. It took roughly 41 seconds to happen. Still plenty of Rocket League left, but this is the last game. So the pressure is mounting slowly.
Definitely a good start for the Vipers. Probably a lot of guys in the but the Spiders still aren't done.
That was pretty, if I'm being honest. That was a great follow-up shot there. I think the Spiders have found their connection here, which is not just going for the fancy aerial dunks and into the goal, but instead going for the backboard lineup and anticipating having the opportunity to get that second touch in.
I definitely have to agree there. It's interesting because Wild is actually going for a solo play, air dribble to a flip reset there. And I don't feel like we've seen a lot of solo plays out of the Vipers. I have to wonder if maybe it was a mix-up Wilds was going for, or if it's something they discussed in between the last game as kind of a way to approach the next one to throw these Spiders off.
I mentioned it earlier, and it's definitely a lot of these players are very... Ooh, Quez! That was spicy! Nicely done! A lot of these players are very gifted when it comes to aerial play. It's just the issue is that they're gifted offensively, they're not gifted defensively. But Dez is showing me exactly what Esports Tower players are capable of doing on the defensive side of aerial play, because he went in the air and challenged Wilds immediately and took that ball away. That is what I have been begging Esports Tower players to do, literally for months, to learn how to challenge those players who are going for those solo aerial plays. And seeing someone who's able to do that confidently is absolutely amazing.
I definitely have to agree there, and I think it's something I touched on a little bit last week when we were watching Boise State play, is when players go up for these complicated aerial plays on offense, you have to get up there as soon as possible. You have to get in the way. It doesn't matter if you touch the player or you touch the ball. You just have to disrupt that play, because if you let them do something with that, it's going to be super unpredictable, and your third man's not going to know how to handle anything that's thrown at him from that play.
Got Zydra doing a fantastic job. Pops the ball up, trying to maintain possession, but loses it. Dez plays it off the backboard, goes for the follow-up touch, but it's going to be a little bit too high. The tertiary touch is going to go in from Quez. That was calculated and actually pretty perfect.
Yeah, and I bet the Spiders have to be breathing a sigh of relief, maybe relaxing a little bit more. I can only imagine tensions were high towards that game, or towards last game, but the Vipers still aren't out of it.
They're not, but Spiders being up by 2, now up by 3, taking out the defender. That's one of the old Doc's keys to the game. Now we're at the repeat of the last game's score, but we still have plenty of time left on the clock. For the Vipers, currently they're looking at a goal, I want to say my math is bad, I can't math, 45 seconds-ish?
Yeah, I think that's about right. And it just feels like what the Spiders shifted most of all was kind of their mentality in terms of defense, but also on offense, they're going for a lot more demos. And a beautiful cherry picker from Quez there. Just absolutely stunning to see some of these plays come together. And honestly, I don't even feel like the Vipers are making any giant mistakes, like not having someone back. It's a lot of just not responding properly to these really super impressive, hard to predict plays, especially from Quez. And I gotta hand it to the Spiders. This bounce back in this series is more than acceptable for a mentality shift.
So Quez used to kind of be, is that, what? Okay, thank you, Zydra. Quez used to be one of the few players who was very confident on the offensive aerial plays, and it's really nice to see that they've shaken up their playstyle and aren't just going for those solo aerial plays. I mean, yes, they can do it, but they've done some fantastic passes, follow-ups, and pinches in order to get a lot of goals here in this series and the previous one. So they've definitely, the breadth of their skill set has broadened, and they're bringing it to the table in full force.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. I can see a little bit of that playstyle in Quez, but it's also nice to see him work together with his team, as you were mentioning. A lot of these goals that he's scoring are the result of his teams finding demos or finding some extraordinary upfield smashes that he can just cherry pick off of.
Got Wilds and Thrift, but unfortunately they do lose out possession. Zydra tries to maintain it, passes it back to Wilds instead, who pops it to Thrift in the mid. Thrift looking to dunk it down to Wilds, disrupted by Dez in mid-flight yet again. Ball on the side, Zydra sends it directly into the middle of the field. Enzo gets in there, steals it away, demos one of the Vipers. Ball now on the back third of the Viper side of the field. And it does look like it went flat against that goal, against the goal, so it's a little bit of a hard angle to expect that to bend in. No one is back up here.
Yeah, and as the clock ticks down, 13 seconds left, 3 goals to be scored. I don't think it's possible, but I have to hand it to the Vipers. They still played a very impressive set of Rocket League. Both teams had a lot going for them. And I think the first couple games were kind of riddled with a lot of mistakes in terms of, well, as we talked about, a lot of overcommitting and over-rotating. And I think towards these last 2 games especially, and a little bit into the last half of the 3rd game, we definitely saw it clean up quite a bit, and we saw some really impressive Rocket League from both teams.
I believe this scorecard is incorrect because I believe the Spiders won. So we'll just go off our best bet and say yes, congratulations, Spiders. Yes, it is being updated. Thank you. All right, congratulations, Spiders. You guys are the victors this time. That was a hard-fought game. You guys did a fantastic job. Vipers, you guys did fabulous as well. Quez, congratulations on making it back here. It makes me very happy to see you once again. And so, Taki, you know, do you feel like if you had a program like this existing when you were in high school, you would have done it?
Oh, absolutely.
I would have too. This program opens up so many opportunities for students, and one of those big opportunities is to play on a team that's organized, because ultimately going at it alone can only get you so far. And if you want to increase your chances of success, you need to level up those ever so important teaming skills. We just saw that in those last few plays coming out from the Spiders, especially connecting with one another and facilitating each other's different play styles. And you can see how far they've come since last time, which, I mean, for us, Quez, the last time we saw you was a long time ago, but as I mentioned, your breadth and skill set has definitely broadened. It was absolutely amazing to get to see that yet again. And Esports Tower really takes the time to create teams of well-matched teammates, and I'd like to give a shout out to Coach Jake. And if you're watching and haven't checked out Esports Tower clubs, you definitely should. It's the fast track to rank up. All right, so here's the Octane bracket. We just got to see the Spiders, and we just got to see the Vipers. So the Spiders are going to move on to the grand finals. Up next is going to be the Barracudas and the Lions. The Barracudas is Quez's old alma mater, so to speak, from the Esports Tower. They have since graduated from having Quez with them. Let's see what shakes out between them and the Lions. Will the Barracudas have to go against their old teammate of Quez in the grand finals, or will the Lions have the opportunity to take them on? We'll see how that goes. And also, I want to really, focus on the rosters that we see coming through on this one. I believe there's some things that are changing, but we'll have to, wait and see until we're in that game. However, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the Lions and Barracudas game.
NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome back to this broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble. We're broadcasting it live from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. Who will join the Spiders in the Octane Cup Grand Finals? The Barracudas were our champions last time in the Octane Cup. Will the Lions suffer the loss in round one? Who will come out on top? And just like we started out this broadcast, no hot swaps being made on desk. And it is going to be me, Nerdy, and the one and only Taki on desk yet again to close out this broadcast with all of you beautiful human beings. All right, so I feel like the Lions and Barracudas have a high bar set for them after that first series we just watched.
Yeah, no, that last series was definitely impressive. A little bit of a rough start, but definitely a very positive ending. And honestly, I don't know. Well, how could it get better?
I mean, that was fantastic, Rocket League. That was very exciting to cast, and I'm pretty sure all of the coaches and players are very proud of the performances that they got to put out during that game. So we'll have to see if the Lions and Barracudas can stack up to the performance we just watched. After all, it's their own game. We're going to see if they play to their strengths as we look at the rosters that they do have when the matches start. But before we get into that, of course, you know, we want to give a quick shout out to all of the players that have been working very, very hard lately. And so we're going to take this moment to congratulate all the Esports Tower Club members who've graduated from the club and have been offered these scholarships across the country. Over the last 3 months, Esports Tower Club members have received $1.6 million in scholarship awards. These students have not only worked hard in the in-game play, but have worked hard academically and have earned these scholarship opportunities. These players the players who receive these scholarships are talented, hardworking, and driven, and we cannot be more proud and excited to see all the opportunities these players are getting. Congratulations to all of you. Each of you earned these scholarships with your hard work and dedication, not only to esports, but to your academics and just being overall fantastic human beings. So well done. Keep up the hard work.
Yeah, definitely exciting to see those numbers. And honestly, like you mentioned before, I would have loved to have this kind of program when when esports first started.
Right?
And when I was in high school, all I wanted to do was be the best Rocket League player ever. And I'm really glad that these kids now have the opportunity to maybe get to that point at some point. And it's just really impressive to see.
I don't know. I'm like so flabbergasted because one of the Esports Tower Club members is actually one of the Overwatch players now. That's Maxall, Mark, and also like these kids when they came here as children, they're like, oh yeah, hey, by the way, I was playing on a club team, or this was my coach when I was in high school. I was like, what the heck? I'm so jealous. Ooh, that is so pretty. So I believe this was made by Doc's son. And this is some work in Unreal Engine. This is fabulous. I absolutely adore this. Can we get the team logos on those at some point? That'd be really cool. But that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Doc
really?
says yes, we can.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I've been told we can get team logos on those at some point. Yay! More work for Kim. I'm sorry, but thank you. All right. So before we jump into our matches, we have a tradition to uphold, and that tradition is Doc's keys to the game for Rocket League. And those keys today are create mistakes, punish the overcommits, play the walls better, and demo in the goal. And from the desk, we're going to provide play the midfield better. Doc's keys to the game are presented by esportstower.com, where you can score pro advice and improve your team sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. All right, so we're going to jump into our match between the Lions and the Barracudas. The Barracudas are the defending Octane Cup champions. Can they hold off the Lions, advance back to the go back to the grand finals to take on the Spiders and take on their old teammate of Quez? Or will the Lions devour the fish of the form of the Barracudas and come out on top of this one and knock them down after their victory from last week? Going into the first kickoff, it does look like the Barracudas are going to take away the ball immediately. Going into the air, Crazy plays it around one, dunks it down, but the follow-up from Jimbo was not quite in time.
Kind of a sketchy start to the game. We had a weird backflip followed by a barely miss. Definitely not the way you usually want to start, but hey, that's kind of how the first set of games started as well. A little bit rough around the edges, so we'll just have to see as they kind of iron out those issues what both teams are going to look like in this series.
I mean, the way I treat this is we got to remember that these kids are in high school. They got a lot of stuff going on, so they probably don't have an ample amount of time before these matches start to warm up. So it's like right when that timer starts ticking down, the oil gets dropped into the gears. It's the teammates, and it has to work its way through before things start going smoothly. So the first match, typically a little bit rough. We have Protato getting a great shot with a follow-up touch from, I believe that's Nano, who's NNO. Correct me if I'm wrong. Getting that second follow-up and allowing that first goal to go through.
I do believe that's Nano as well, based off the sombrero topper that he's used in the past, but
I have no idea who Trust Me I'm Trying is, but Jimbo finds goal number 1 for the Barracudas, and we are at the It's Complicated 0-0.
Luckily, they're using this time that we're figuring out who's who to kind of stick the game still at a 0-0 line. So when we have it all finally figured out, it'll be time to really see who's going to pop off in this series.
If I had to guess, Trust Me I'm Trying, typically that's something that like KJ would do with their name, but I'm not positive.
A little bit of a miscommunication there from the Barracudas, bumping each other in the air. Looks like both were attempting to go for some kind of hero play.
You can't be the hero in a 3v3 team-style game. There's 2 players with you on that field for a reason. We've got Jimbo playing it around Protato, but it does manage to either hit the crossbar or we can say it couldn't quite exactly see that one, but a drift tries to go off the backboard. Nano tries to slow down a little bit, ends up losing it to Crazy Cat probably. And Nano off the side has an opportunity to center it up. All 3 members of the Barracudas are bunched up. A drift blending will bring it across the midfield, and Trust Me I'm Trying will take it away for a moment. A drift now looking to elevate and dunk it into the goal. Nano reads it well and redirects it to the side.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of confusion kind of being mixed out now of the Barracudas offense. Not as much double committing as we saw before, not as much just weird half misses, but so far it just feels like both teams can't quite get into their rhythm. A lot of just barely not quite in or just barely off plays, and it probably just means this first game is going to be the warm-up, the kind of scouting ground that they've used before in the past. And so maybe it'll be the next game or the third game that we finally start to see the teams kind of play with a little bit more confidence and look for that aggressive ownership of the field.
The machine is just getting oiled. It's not quite a well-oiled machine just yet.
A really good save there from Rotato, really hard save, very close to the play, so he had to make that jumping save and that split decision so fast.
Off the back wall, it does look like that was meant for a teammate, but Nano gets to that passing lane first. Crazy Cat probably rotates back very quickly, though, forcing Nano to do the give and go to Protato. Protato manages to play around 2 now, Nano, and it looks like, I believe that's a drift, are all bunched up over here by their own goal. That's a little bit of a complicated situation. We see a demo come out, Nano racing back, gets the opportunity to pop it up over a drift. Can they outplay Jimbo and a drift lemming at the same time? They cannot. It gets popped up, Jimbo passes it to Crazy Cat. Crazy collides with someone. A drift will pop the ball up at the mid where Protato looks to set it to the back third of the Barracuda side of the field.
So much back and forth already, but the good thing is, despite all this back and forth, both teams aren't really giving up a lot of ground in terms of their third man. Third man is doing a good job of stalling for his team, while his team is doing a really good job of being back in time. So there's not really a whole lot of over-rotating or over-aggression yet.
I also have been noticing that Trust Me, I'm Trying has been trying to get tempo control quite a bit. They will slow down with ball possession and just try to juke out whomever is challenging them. It's almost worked out, but the follow-up from their teammates is just not there on time to make it work. We do see Crazy Cat here pop it up, but unfortunately for them, Protato will elevate as well, sending it to the side. Adrift can't quite get it around Protato. Crazy comes in for the follow-up touch, but it's going to be redirected. Jimbo comes flying in, shot on goal, but there's 2 defenders. We are crossing down past the 10-second mark. Will there be a buzzer beater, or will we see overtime in just game 1 of this series? Well, it's now or never, Crazy Cat.
He goes for the flip reset, but he didn't pop it up enough to really stall out the game so that he could get that flip reset first. And oh, this is looking so dangerous. A barely safe from the Barracudas. Definitely some misplays led to that kind of situation there.
All right, let's see how long this overtime shakes out for. So far, we have had one that lasted 8 seconds. I'm now going to keep track for the remainder of this broadcast if there's additional overtime to see which one lasts longest. So far, this one is already going up past our initial overtime, so this one's already going to be more anxiety-inducing than the previous one, but Crazy Cat's going to close it out at the 19-second mark.
We've had some really short overtimes so far today, and that's not to say that they weren't well fought. It's just really interesting that they were able to hold down the fort for maybe 2 or 3 minutes before that overtime happened, and then as soon as overtime happens, just chaos. Someone finds the back of the net, right? That defense, it's not necessarily not there, but something picks up and something changes for Esports Tower teams, and they just figured it out in overtime.
I think they just become very, very hungry for that goal, and no one ever wants to lose out to that golden goal. I personally have always kind of despised golden goal. I understand why it exists, because it'd be awkward to do a certain time-sanctioned overtime for Rocket League. And so instead you look to the golden goal. But having that also means that that time-sanctioned overtime, untimed overtime, can last for an extremely long time. And that gets extremely exhausting for players, especially when they're in these best-of-5 series. So let's hope we don't see any of these overtimes go extremely long. Like I said, so far we've had 8 and 19. We're about to go into game 2 of this game between the Lions and the Barracudas. So far, Barracudas have won 1 game.
And if you can believe it, Nerdy, I think the record for a professional game of Rocket League at the highest level of an overtime was 17 minutes or close to.
Oh my goodness, those poor players. Well, to all you Esports Tower players listening, I really hope that you never have to experience that. That actually sounds borderline painful. Jimbo makes a great save in front of the goal. Nana looks to dunk it down, plays it around 1, but trust me, I'm trying. Can you get in there? It looks like Crazy Cat probably got in front of you, but they do collide with the drift lemming. Not sure if that was planned or not. I think it was, because it seemed like, trust me, I'm trying, got out of, Crazy Cat dodged out of the way to allow Adrift to get in there. Now Adrift dunks the ball down. It bounces underneath 2 defenders and finds its way in the back of the net.
Yeah, great start for the Barracudas. Statistically, the team that scores the first goal usually wins out, even if they fall behind for a second. So this has got to be kind of a good, pat on the back between the 3 of them that, hey, okay, we got this. Let's hold the line, and we should do just as well as we did last time. Ooh, that line already crossed.
Protato.
Honestly, I think last week I had to give Protato some accolades, but this week he's showing up again. I feel like he's kind of bringing out that aggression we don't usually see out of him too much.
Wait, did you just say you gave him flack last week?
No, accolades.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I gave him some vocal accolades. I thought he played really well last week. He's a really impressive player all around. And
Nano off the kickoff.
Yeah, that should never happen. Somebody didn't hit the ball for the Barracudas.
We've seen some awkward kickoff situations happen here where it seems like there's just a miscommunication. Trust me, I'm trying to immediately try to do it again. Adrift, though, expected it, pops it up. Jimbo takes a shot, just the crossbar twice. Even Adrift's follow-up hit the crossbar. I keep telling you, man, that 4th player that never moves comes in clutch almost every single game.
Yeah, it's weird. It feels like this crossbar is on every team that we cast. And I have to hand it to the crossbar. He plays some immaculate defense.
Right?
And rare occasions offense.
Got Crazy Cat trying to battle out 2 people here in front of the goal. Trust me, I'm trying. He's going to push it forward. Jimbo's going to volley it back and pop it up to a Drift, who dunks it down to go for the same play they did earlier, but Potato read it well, expecting it, anticipating it, saves it, but another shot on goal. Follow-up shot. Trust me, I'm trying. Collides with Crazy Cat to redirect that one.
Yeah, and I know I just mentioned the Barracudas statistically should win the game, but they kind of opened forward for the Lions earlier, and 3 goals, and what felt like, I think, must have only been about 30 seconds was kind of completely shifted the game from a close game, at least, to a Lions dominant kind of, well, dominance. I don't know what else to say.
They opened the floodgates. What can you say? I mean, it happens, but with how quickly that the Lions scored those 2 goals, the Barracudas could do it themselves. And as I'm saying that, the Lions scored goal number 4 for themselves. Still plenty of time left on the clock right now to fix that. It's about 35 seconds per goal. That's more time than the Lions have had thus far to score those first 3, and the Barracudas are just looking, honestly, they shouldn't be looking to get ahead. They should be looking to find that equalizer and go from there, and planning out around just getting to that 4-goal mark. You could disagree with me, by the way, and tell me I'm completely crazy.
Honestly, at this point, with only 2 minutes left, I mean, the odds technically aren't totally against you, but you kind of have to just reset and say, hey, okay, this might not be our game. Just do the best we can. If we get scored on anymore, not the end of the world. This is a hard game to come back from anyway. Let's just make sure we keep our attitudes and our mental energy in the right spot so that next game, we don't let this bad stuff leak into the next game. That's going to be a lot more in our control now, right? And I'm going to point it out again because I feel like I noticed this a lot from Nano in particular. A car change already, and while it's, again, what car you play doesn't matter, right? But switching in between series and not picking something close to a main, or at least close in relative hitboxes, the Breakout and the Skyline that he was using before do not have the same hitboxes. It's close, but it's not close enough that you can just randomly switch cars in between games and expect to not have some kind of mechanical repercussions. Nobody will ever recommend that at the highest elo, and I have to wonder, does he get any kind of talk about that from his coach with the Lions, or is that something they just kind of let him do at this point?
That's a good question. Hopefully it's something that does get brought up by the coaches or the players here going forward. Right now the Lions are only up by 2. We've got 50 seconds on the clock. That's 1 per 25, but now they're up by 3. Those chances of closing that gap for the Barracudas might be gone at this point, and it could be, as Taki said, a GG go next. Oh, never mind. I am bad at colors. It's the Barracudas who are now at 3, Lions at 4. 40 seconds on the clock. I think the Barracudas could equalize this one.
I definitely could see it happening. I definitely could see another overtime here, and how exciting would that be? But honestly, even if the Barracudas come away with this game, I gotta kind of just say that they got a little lucky. They got a little bit handed here, because the Lions being that far ahead and the Barracudas giving up so many free goals like they did kind of means, honestly, Barracudas probably shouldn't have won this one, but nevertheless, the Barracudas are holding their own and kind of doing exactly what I was talking about. It's just saying, wait, let's do the best we can, let's play some offense, and no matter what happens, just keep the spirits high so that next game isn't thrown.
Unless we see a buzzer beater here, that is it. Crazy Cat looking to try and keep this one alive, and they're going to find the buzzer beater! Crazy Cat, you're absolutely crazy. And I also want to give a quick correction to anyone that is listening. NNO is not Nano. Actually, NNO, and trust me, I'm trying, are a pair of brand new Esports Tower players. So welcome to the family, you guys. You have a great teammate with you in the form of Potato, who has been a star in the past here with Esports Tower. Hopefully you guys can work on trusting each other and balancing out your skill sets to develop a well-rounded team while you're in pursuit of the titles offered through Esports Tower. You've got 24 seconds so far into overtime. You guys are still tied. Let's see who comes out on top. Will it be the Lions or the Barracudas?
Yeah, so far the Lions have had the pressure, but the Barracudas are now finally getting that breath of fresh air. But trust me, I'm trying. It's just saying, nope, we're not doing that. I'm going to make sure you guys are suffocated in your end of the field here. And Rotato even finds a way around what I believe was a drift. Or no, Crazy Cat. So
Oof.
It's a lot of pressure coming on here now. And finally, NNO, the new player, right?
Yes.
NNO finds the back of the net after another overtime. How far into that overtime did we get?
I think that was 37 seconds?
I think
I was
that
too
sounds right.
paying close attention to what was happening. I saw the double demolition come out, and I was like, oh, they're planning something.
Yeah, no. Demos are a really, really good way. I mean, they're always a good way. But in overtime in particular, when the stress levels are already high, I'd argue that demos become a lot more viable because it kind of just adds that extra level of stress because you can kind of predict your teammates' movements and the rotations a little bit more, especially when you're communicating. But the demos are something that, while you can dodge them, they're a little bit more outside your control. And so causing that kind of panic is a really good way to kind of get in the enemy's head, especially when it kind of moves exponentially in overtime when you don't have any free lives anymore.
And, I mean, if you look at it from the perspective, we'll just route it out and say that that was a 40-second long overtime. Having two people get demoed back-to-back. Oh, it was a 52-second overtime. Thank you, production. Having two people get demoed back-to-back right there, when a demolition respawn timer is roughly 2.4 seconds in total, people will round it up to 3 seconds. We'll just say 3 in this case. That is almost 10% of that entire overtime. Actually, It is 10% of that entire overtime. So that is a rough situation to be in, to be down 1, and in this case, down 2, technically speaking. So it's an old key to the game, but allaying the demos is still very important. You got to try to anticipate it. I understand that sometimes people go Mad Max on that field, though, and are just looking for gasoline. And in those cases, I say good luck and just try to stay level-headed. We are going to be headed into our Game 3 here in this best-of-5 series, and we're currently tied 1 aside. And do you have any anticipation of who you think will come out on this game?
Honestly, I feel like the Lions are kind of going to run with that on their momentum. I feel like we're going to see the Lions pull ahead in this series, but as I am learning more as I cast that I should just keep my mouth closed.
I might have baited you into that one.
Yeah, that's
Jem does it to me too, all right?
This happened last time with the Barracudas as well, right? They came ahead early in the game, but still through the first 3 or 4 goals and just kind of let the Lions take control of the game. But not to say that they weren't able to come back as well and keep their heads in the game. But this is probably a really nice setup for them. They're probably, okay, we're reset now. Basically, we're at a best of 3. We're right back where we were last game. And we're already finding a way to be ahead. But again,
trust me, I'm trying. Found
what
it.
is happening?
We are at the complicated 1 aside, a.k.a. the complicated 0-0. So this is just reset and keep going because that was 30 seconds if both teams found a goal. Might as well be nothing on the board because, I mean, if we're still here in 5 more minutes, it's going to go to overtime. I kind of want to see another overtime at this point. It'd be exciting.
Yeah, at this point, the overtimes are kind of part of the show.
Yeah.
And, you know, to say the least, even if we do go to an overtime with all these goals being scored back and forth and me caster cursing everyone and the crossbar.
Don't worry, I'll do you a favor and I'll cast or curse the next goal.
Okay, all right. We'll both call separate things and one of us will be right.
Yep.
Yeah. But at this point, like, I got to say that either team that comes out of this probably earns it. But again, what was I just saying? This is like opposite caster curse. They come out ahead, Barracudas find that first goal, and Lions just say, yeah, well, here's 3. And now you guys get to deal with it. Now you guys have to play on our terms.
Well, I mean, the Barracudas almost closed that gap in the last game as well. They did close it. It's just they need to close that and then get ahead. Right now, they have plenty of time to do that. This gap isn't so egregious that it's impossible. Right now, it's literally more than 1 minute per goal, and they can be ahead.
Yeah, I definitely agree that they're not out of it. I mean, they proved that they weren't out of it last series, right? Or last game. But
Adrift? Adrift? Is that it? That's it?
That could be the start. That could be the start. But I feel like even if they score 6 goals here and they come out ahead and they win this game in what looks like dominating fashion, I feel like they really need to take a deep breath and really look at what's going on in these games, because scoring the first goal and then having a ton of overcommit goals that just clear the entire expanse of the field and just find the back of the net, that's something you actually need to address. Even if you come out on top here, there's something needs to change, right? Because you started it on top, so what do you need to do to hold that lead rather than have to earn it back every single minute?
Yeah, it's a difficult situation to be in. I mean, after all, these guys are still in school. They're still learning. Of course, there's very, very few kids that are in high school that are professional Rocket League players. And if they are in Esports Tower by chance, please point yourself out. However, all of them are still learning, and it is a growing experience. And currently, the coaches, like with the Barracudas, are very stressing on the importance of like boost pad rotations, one of those basic mechanic things that they feel like their team needs to get down as a whole. And I feel like that's probably going to lead into the other things that you're talking about that need to be cleaned up.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree there. To my understanding, it's that these teams are still working on a lot of different, like you said, boost pad rotations and a lot of different midfield mechanics, but it's definitely not something that isn't an adjustment you can make in between games as well. Not to say that, that these players are without hope or anything when I have to make kind of the criticism of we have to take a look at what's going on. It's more so just like that's what you do
Keep
at
stalling
the highest
that
level, right? You have to kind of think about in between games, even ones where you win. It's like, okay, what went wrong, if anything went wrong, and what are we going to do about it next time? Because right now, if I'm the Barracudas, I'm kind of feeling frustrated. I get these leads in these games, both games in the last 2 games. I've gotten these great leads, early leads with his first goal, and then it's kind of just felt squandered. And I don't know if it's a communication breakdown. I don't know if it's just feeling way too confident, being too far up the field, but something's happening where the Lions are kind of just getting handed a lot of open nets.
The one thing that I'm noticing with the Barracudas is the fact that it seems like when the Lions are on the defense, they're more spread out and they're anticipating the clears to happen. They have faith in their teammates to do that, and it feels like the Barracudas are not, and they're overcommitting on these goals, anticipating them to go in, which I understand, yes, have the ego, have the confidence to say, oh, this ball's going to go in, I just need to be there to follow it up. But understand the risk you're taking. Is the juice worth the squeeze every time when the squeeze has resulted in a loss for the last game? However, the Barracudas have brought this back. We had some issues with the lag, so we did have to pull out of the stream for a little bit, and that's why you guys were looking at our beautiful faces. So during that time, the Barracudas did manage to score another goal. They're currently down by 1 from the Lions. There's plenty of time to bring this one back. We're almost in the identical situation we were in earlier. We'll have to see how this cleans up because we've just crossed that 100-second threshold. NNO is looking to find another goal for the side of the Lions, and it looks like Trust Me I'm Trying is trying to help them out. And it looks like Trust Me I'm Trying is trying quite well because that is another goal for the Lions. Currently now in the security position of being up by 2. Barracudas, you have roughly 45 seconds per goal. We've seen you do it before. Let's see if you can do it again.
Yeah, they're still on that time limit. And like I said before, they've got to wonder, why are we even here? Why are we so putting ourselves in these positions where we have to fight just to compete in these games rather than using our lead to our advantage? But, it's definitely not something that you have to take away from the Lions as well. The Lions have done a tremendous job of saying, look at all these mistakes. Let's punish them instead of being surprised by them. And, that's part of the adaptation process is not necessarily being surprised when there's mistakes either, playing the game in an all-around way that can address kind of both things. And what a great passing play, just barely high from
Jimbo! Oh, Trust Me I'm Trying. Trust Me I'm Trying on NNO. Managed to get the wombo combo on the save, the give and the go to pull it all the way across to the back third of the Barracuda side of the field. We are crossing into that 30-second threshold period. That's a goal every 15 seconds for the Barracudas. We saw quite a few goals scored in the first minute of this game. I have faith in their ability to do it, but they need to take this ball away from Nano because Nano's like, I'm going to make it so you have to score 3 goals in 30 seconds, and it's now down to 20. So this may just be a GG go next for the Barracudas.
Definitely have to agree there. I feel like there's no time left in this anymore. They have to score right now because the kickoff burns a lot of time all on its own. And like I said, the Barracudas need to have a deep breath, maybe a drink of water in between this next game, and just kind of think about what's going on, what do we need to adjust to make sure that we can stay on top of these games, because right now it is not working.
One of the biggest pieces of advice I normally give to a lot of esports players, it doesn't matter if you're playing Rocket League, Valorant, Overwatch, Halo, is if you are having a bad game and you feel like you're possibly getting tilted on the mental front, even if you need to remain in comms with your coach, your teammates, stand up from your chair and just take a deep breath, actually physically stand up and give yourself a moment to be away from the desk and out of the sitting position, stretch your legs out a little bit, and reset your mental as much as possible, because the worst thing you can do is go into a game being tilted or being upset in any way, shape, or form, because that throws off your performance no matter what. I know some people out there will say, well, being angry makes you play better. I feel like being angry within the esports realm makes you overly aggressive, and that could open up a lot of opportunities for the other team to take advantage of.
Yeah, I think it's really dependent, and I think at lower levels, being angry might make you play better when teams can't handle aggression, but esports towers players are nothing to laugh about, to say the least, and they're definitely getting to a point where just playing aggressive isn't what's going to win you games. I mean, we saw that last week. So much offense played, so many overcommands, but also so many stylish goals found.
You want to see a stylish goal?
There you go. But the team that
Cross map.
took it away last week was a team that was able to play both sides of the field.
Man, you made me really regret having food poisoning. I missed out on some great Rocket League, so I hope this week is, you know, up to snuff in comparison. Right now, Lions currently up by 2. They're not even letting the Barracudas try and get a foothold this game. But if that's if this is going to be a similar story to the last series, let's see if the Barracudas now end up winning this one out, since they're down 2 in the beginning as opposed to being up by 1. Maybe that changes the mental focus a little bit.
Yeah, maybe it does. I mean, they're kind of in the same spot they were before, truth be told, because that kind of 1-3 marker that I pointed out in the last couple of games is kind of the same thing. It's just 2-0, which is the same goal differential. But the Lions are definitely running away with the series. They have to feel confident given that they've only got one more to win right now, and they've got that 2-0 lead. And honestly, the defense from the Lions has been impressive all games, or all series.
What? Sorry, continue.
Oh, so I'd have to argue that they have reason to feel confident in this kind of situation.
I mean, I feel like they can be confident, but they can't be overconfident. When I feel like it really is the nail in the coffin, so to speak, when it comes to Rocket League, is when you see a team up by 3-0, because then at that point there really is just play keep away. You don't need to keep scoring. Yes, you can go for it, but if you don't want to run the risk of having an open goal opportunity taken advantage of, you just play clean passes and you go for the rotations and just working on communicating at that point, as opposed to trying to be flashy and get extra goals and ego on the other team. However, Lions now, as I just was talking about that, I did a reverse caster curse because they're actually now up by 3. Goal was just left wide open by the Barracudas. Thankfully, the ball went wide of the goal. Protato's going to try to spike it down. Unfortunately, a little bit too wide, so it's going to hit that awkward corner pocket and bounce out. Crazy Cat now looking to elevate over 2. Collides with the Drift Lemming, unfortunately, so that one was definitely not communicated. Ball gets dunked by a Drift in front of the goal. It's dunked out at the last second. I don't know who saved that, but someone did it. Nicely done. And we have a collision between the Barracuda players yet again. Definitely feel like the stress is mounting, and it's having a negative impact on their performance. If another goal is scored, they just need to take a quick breath and use those couple of seconds to reset. And remember, there is always more opportunities to come back swinging and perform better. Today may just be an off day, but not for Jimbo, who comes in with goal number 1 for the Barracudas. Now they're showing signs of life. 2 minutes, 37 seconds on the clock is plenty of time for them to bring this one back. They already have almost done it twice.
Yeah, and we saw that amazing kind of like down at an angle shot from a Drift earlier that was barely saved by the Lions. And it's kind of what I was talking about earlier, is why they can play with a little bit of confidence, not too much, because they have the defense to respond to those kind of crazy, really weird, but also really hard to save passing plays that a Drift almost found the back of the net with. So with a strong defense, the Lions can pretty reliably rely on holding their lead.
Potato looking to increase that one, pops up in front of the goal. It's a follow-up from Trust Me I'm Trying, gets dunked down, but it looks like a double commit between Crazy Cat and Jimbo allows for the save, but NNO gets possession for a little bit. A Drift steals it away. Challenging in mid-flight was Potato to dunk the ball down, but it's now in the back third of the Lions side of the field with 1 minute and 45 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, definitely impressive so far from the Lions. We're, again, back to that 3-1 deficit for the Barracudas. And, you know, it kind of feels like they're playing the same song every game at this point. And not to say the Barracudas are, you know, anything less than a great team. Every team that comes and plays here at Esports Tower is more than impressive. Oh, and a fantastic almost backwards shot there from, I believe, Jimbo. But definitely the Barracudas, having that crown on their head, have finally run into the Lions, who are definitely watching that target now. So that's strapped to their back, been strapped to their back for several weeks now. So, oh gosh, I don't know. What adjustments do you make here, Nerdy?
I mean, at this point, I do feel like that possibly there are that the synergy that we normally see coming out from the Barracudas is just not there today. I do believe that Jimbo might be someone who's new to the roster, and so some of those rotations are just not coming through for them like they normally would. Yes, Jimbo is actually filling in for Jababy this week, so with that in mind, that could be what's causing some awkward rotations. However, it does feel like Drift and Crazy are also colliding with one another. So that's just something that over time needs to get cleaned up. If they're tilting, that's something that needs to be worked on. And it will just have to be a GG go next because it's 40 seconds on the clock, scoring 4 goals. It's 1 every 10 seconds. You would actually need the gods of the game to come through right now and shine light down on this field, I feel like, for that to happen. But NNO is going to tell me to shut the heck up because they're just going to keep scoring more goals.
Yeah, and honestly, at this point, we've seen a lot of craziness in Rocket League. But I would be willing to put a large sum of money on the table right now and say that they're not going to score 5 goals in 20 seconds. So with that in mind, for the Barracudas right now, oh, we might be looking at a Brazil. With that in mind, if I were the Barracudas right now, exactly like you said, you were so right, Nerdy. Kind of deep breath, shake it out, go next. Like, this is the end of their run for this week. But hey, you know, you did the best you could. You had a new player, and you can't expect it to work every time the first time. And if it does, a lot of the time that's a sign of a honeymooning phase anyway.
Yeah.
So this should be a learning experience not just for Jimbo, because Jimbo is coming into it as a player who's not necessarily extremely versed in the Barracuda's playstyle. As you can see, there was a lot of miscommunication, a lot of just kind of slow gameplay at the defensive end for them. But it's also a learning experience for the other members of the Barracudas as well, because you're not going to have the same teammates from start to end in your career. I guarantee you that the players they started playing with aren't the same players they play with all the time, even now, right?
No.
Especially learning and meeting all these great new people in Esports Tower.
Yeah, so congratulations to our Lions. They will be moving on to the Cup games later on. And before we move forward, I want to talk to anyone who is watching that wants to have the opportunity to be seen by expert college recruiters. Talk directly to esports industry insiders like pro athletes, team general managers, and game producers. You need to join the club. Esports Tower players get insider access to industry insights. With our featured Rumbles, recruiters are taking notice of these events as well. It's a great way to score exposure if you're looking to start your path to pro or land one of those beautiful collegiate scholarships that we mentioned earlier. So the Lions shut down the Barracudas and will be advancing to take on the Spiders in the Octane Cup Grand Finals. So congratulations, Spiders, and the Lions. Very interested to see how that shakes out. But before we get to see any more Rocket League, we're going to take a quick break. Hopefully you take my advice and stand up and go possibly grab some water, shake it out, stretch your legs, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome to this broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble. We're broadcasting it live from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. It's time for our Octane Bracket Grand Finals. The Lions and the Spiders are making their first appearance in the Grand Finals of the Octane Bracket. Who will come out on top? I'm your host, Nerdy, and joining me to call all the action is Attacky. All right, so we got to see some fabulous gameplay from the Spiders, and the Lions got some rather opportunistic gameplay is the only way I can put it, because we definitely, I think both of us on us can agree that things did not go as the Barracudas in the last match would have liked. It seemed like there was some bad juju that was sprinkled onto them at the beginning of the day, and it was hard to shake off. That sometimes happens.
Yeah.
So what are you expecting to see in this next game?
Honestly, I feel like the Lions played really well. But I feel like a lot of the mistakes they were making and a lot of the ways that Barracudas were scoring goals on them were something that's pretty rudimentary. And if in my honest opinion, if we see the same Spiders that we saw earlier in the day, I think it might be a blowout.
All right, well, that's the prediction. Let's see if it's an actual prediction or if it's a caster curse. Not going to lie, that was kind of calling out the Lions a little bit, so I hope they respond very heavy-handedly here and say, we know our basics and we will not let this happen again, good sir. And to that point, we also want to talk about the basics that we have here at Boise State, and those are Doc's keys to the game in Rocket League. They are create mistakes, punish the overcommits, play the walls better, and demo in the goal. Doc's keys to the game are presented today by Esports Tower, where you can score pro advice at esportstower.com and improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. So let's kick off our Octane Bracket Grand Finals with the Spiders taking on the Lions as both teams look to claim their first Octane title. So lots of pressure from us. Don't let it actually affect you. It's just our job to build up the pressure. It's got to seem like it's there. The Spiders have a new roster full of experienced players, and will that give them the edge? Let's hop in and find out.
Yeah, and like I kind of mentioned earlier, the Spiders feel like a team that are very, very good at, how should I say this? They're very, very good at putting together aggressive, creative plays between each other. And so putting the ball into the back of the net through some of the easy mistakes that we saw sometimes out of the Lions doesn't seem like too far-fetched for Spiders to do, assuming they play as well as they did against the teams earlier.
And just a quick heads up for everyone that's watching, we do see it too. YTPugLife_TTV is not in this game. It is just an overlay bug. There's only 3 players playing for the side of the Spiders in the form of, my apologies, for the Lions. That is an NNO Potato. Trust me, I'm trying. The colors are swaps. The Lions are in the blue, and the Spiders are in the orange.
Already almost a fantastic flip reset from Enzo there. Definitely feeling himself. Went for the flip reset off of the backboard. And you can see kind of what I was talking about. The Spiders are kind of holed up in their end right now, no? Or no. It's technically the Lions that are holed up in their end. The colors are off, you know?
I'm sorry, my brain is getting distracted by this in-game screaming that's happening. I'm not positive what it is.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the Lions on the scoreboard are technically blue, but are marked as orange.
Correct.
Yes. So, give us a minute to figure that out. However...
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I can. I don't know what that is. Having played Rocket League for so long, I didn't think there was an announcer that did anything like that on this field. So I
think it's a car sound effect.
Is it?
Yeah. It's distracting my pigeon brain. I'll be honest. I get distracted very easily. I'm like a squirrel.
Oh.
All right, so we got Dez winning the kickoff, but it went so far forward. Potato's going to be able to dig it out in the corner. However, not completely, so they get a shot on goal. Goes past 2, and it was actually Squez who found that shot. Nicely done, and once again, we return to It's Complicated, tied 1 aside. I think it's that car right there from Trust Me, I'm Trying.
Okay. Well, that's strange. But, so we are tied. I believe that technically the Lions led off. Now we're no longer tied because I said something. But technically the Lions led off with the first goal. And I have to hand it to them. It was a pretty good passing play. They found a good way to find in the back of the net, but it did feel a little bit like the Lions were just kind of not quite prepared yet. Maybe kind of the first kind of jitters that they had the first couple games of their last series, but that the Spiders offense is already showing its true colors. And again, as I'm saying it, kind of what I expected. This team does a really good job of finding the back of the net, working together. And we see a flip reset pass from Dez into Enzo, and not a single one of the Lions members was ready for that kind of aggression and powerful mechanical play from the Spiders.
To make it easier about anyone who's watching, just flip the names on the scoreboard. That's what it really is, and those are the correct colors. We over-explained it. My apologies. Sometimes that's just how it works out. We've got Trust Me, I'm trying to get possession of this ball away from Dez. Dez ends up popping it up, leaving it to Enzo, who gets a shot on goal. Dez gets demoed in the process, and Trust Me, I'm trying, gets a great save, but they pass it forward, anticipating a teammate, and no one was there. Potato up the back wall, looking to corral this ball in the corner. Slight miscommunication between them and NNO. And it does look like that slight miscommunication is actually going to result in a favorable outcome, as they did get the ball almost in the midfield stripe. Potato now looking to dunk it down to a teammate, but that teammate did not elevate fast enough, so Potato's forced to backtrack a little bit, played off this back wall, and they have very little momentum to do so.
Definitely a lot of Lions defense this game around. A lot of kind of being stuck in their end, as Quez especially, and Enzo do a really good job of knocking it back into the enemy end, making sure to keep that pressure that they're so good at converting into goals as the main win condition.
And just like you can see it on our scoreboard, just like all of our games earlier this evening, this will still be a best-of-5 series. So even if the Alliance do not come out on top of this one, they are not out just yet. They have plenty of time to bring it back. We are ticking past that 90-second mark, and the Lions are currently down by 2, looking to find an extra 2 goals here. Let's see if they can find it. They did manage to score quite a few goals in the last game, but as I mentioned, they were rather opportunistic rather than planned and calculated plays that were being made. Let's see if they can start putting those plays together here, however.
Yeah, it feels like the Lions weren't quite prepared yet for what the Spiders have in store for them with their intense aggression and passing plays, but it's definitely not something that they can't overcome. You have to hand it to the Spiders. It's 3 very mechanical and talented players coming at this Grand Championship victory.
You've got Enzo just pushing NNO out of the way to allow Dez to grab the ball off the ground. He pops it to Quez. Now Dez trying to look to center it off the back wall, but instead, Trust Me, I'm trying to kind of play around them. Hits that crossbar yet again. Now Enzo bringing it up the side. Has to play it around NNO and Potato. Can they do that? Enzo with the bicycle, unfortunately shot on goal, get turned away. Quez now elevating, looking to dunk it down to a teammate, but Potato gets in the air to grab it away. Bumping the defender out of the way was Quez, but they ended up bumping them into the ball in the process. Though it does look like with no time left on the clock, the Spiders are going to walk away with a victory, 3-1. Lions only lost out by 2. We might see a buzzer beater goal here, but it's not going to make a difference either way. It'll just be for a morality boost if it's for the Lions in the next round. Yes, that screaming was most definitely Trust Me, I'm Trying's car.
Yeah, it was a little bit easier to tell towards the end there once you pointed it out. It was confusing, admittedly.
It caught me off guard, and my brain was like, what in the Nuggets is happening right now? Who is screaming?
Yeah, no, I was the exact same way. Maybe not with the Nuggets, but yeah, I feel like I remember that engine sound now that I'm pleasantly reminded of it in the most distracting way possible. But
maybe that's the plan from Trust Me, I'm Trying. Let me make the most obnoxious sounding car and most obnoxious looking car in the world so that they just stand there and stare at me flabbergasted for the duration of the match. The noise wasn't enough, so let's see if they change their car up in this next game. Because as you pointed out, these esports players are very, very guilty of changing their cars frequently. Maybe they won't, maybe they will, maybe the sound packet will go away. That's what I'm hoping for, because my pigeon brain is not more focusing with it right now.
Yeah, and as casters who kind of just have the leisure to say what we want in the moment, you gotta wonder if it's distracting us this bad, how bad is it distracting the Spiders? But, I mean, they still came out on top.
They did, and I think there actually is the ability to turn down sound effects in-game, so that could have been something they did. Oh, we have Potato and NNO collide with each other. Not something you want to be seeing when you get a nice clear. Quez off the wall, looking to send it to Dez, disrupted by Trust Me, I'm Trying. So shot taken away, Potato now pops it up to NNO. They ends up putting pressure on them, so the give and the go has happened. Quez, though, immediately reads it, pops it up to the high right of the field.
Yeah, already we're seeing a little bit more offense now from the Lions. We're still kind of trying to figure out how they can get their offense rolling. Because being stuck on their end of the field by Spiders consistently for last game probably did not feel good.
So I think it's very interesting is that we talked about this in our other match with the Spiders when they were on the field, that they are, well, not all of them are new players. I mean, Dez, I do believe, is new. Didn't get final word on that. However, they are experienced, but they don't have a lot of experience as a team together, and the coaches actually informed us that this new roster has had a lot of great scrims, and think that the team has been really improving in their comms as well as rotation, so that means their overall teamwork has been getting better. And as I mentioned, now we got Trust Me, I'm Trying, telling me, that teamwork only goes so far. I still can, solo a goal in here from time to time. This was beautiful. We have NNO coming in, actually booping Enzo out of the way. So Enzo's forced to rotate forward too quickly to avoid that demo and the bump, and instead still can't get the ball all the time.
Already a better start, but definitely still have to yet to see that kind of aggressive offensive passing plays come out from the Spiders, but not to say that they haven't been there, just that they haven't quite found each other yet this game.
We got NNO looking to get a shot on goal. It's stopped by Enzo, though. Dez now elevating it, has to play it around. Trust Me, I'm Trying, but drops down too soon and collides with two of the players in the Lions. Quest decides to take one of them out. It's going to back pass. Unfortunately, it was not communicated well enough, so NNO is going to be able to get in there and take that ball away. There's no one in front of them. Never mind, they have Enzo in front of them who stops the ball. Thankfully, there's no follow-up. Otherwise, that might have been immediately be into the back of the net. Now at the midfield strike, Trust Me, I'm Trying. Looks to prevent it from crossing, but it's going to. And Quest tries to dunk it in the goal, taken away by NNO.
I feel like it's really impressive to see the Lions kind of adapt and find their own way into their offensive half this game, because it felt like, I pointed out a couple times, they spent most of their last game kind of on this awkward half of defense, and when they weren't playing defense, they were getting scored on. So it's just nice to see them kind of find their own pace and find a way to make this game feel a lot more even and shut down these Spiders' offensive plays a lot sooner.
So I think one of the things they're struggling with in regards to shutting down the Spiders and also capitalizing more on these offensive opportunities is I've just watched Potato and Trust Me, I'm Trying throughout that entire defense, and Trust Me still is struggling to get boosted up. Have nothing left in their tanks. Plus, I'm seeing these boost meters go from 100 down to like 30 very quickly, demonstrating that these players are not feathering their boost, rather they're just using it all at once or using large portions of it very quickly, and it makes it so that their resource management is just not where it needs to be. So the coaches have been actually working very hard with the players from the Lions to improve their offensive use of their boost. However, I feel like that also needs to transition into the defensive use and make sure they're not getting boost starved.
Dez had an amazing pass there right off the bat, barely whipped from his teammate, so he didn't quite find the back line, but a backwards flick by Dez in the first 10 seconds of the round almost secured a goal immediately for the Spiders. And that's that kind of creativity that you wouldn't expect out of most players that this team has in combination with their mechanics that allow them to find all these crazy goals. But when they're being shut down at the midfield like the Lions are, it's really hard for them to develop these plays that they rely on so heavily for their offense.
And once again, I mentioned it earlier, you got NNO and Potato who just went from 100 to 0 and back to 100. NNO still struggling to find some boost right now, so their ability to play defensively here is going to be diminished as they're kind of stuck dwindling around the goal. They're trying to get to that boost. It actually does look like that the Spiders are starving the Lions of their own boost pads on the defensive when they're on the offensive here to make it harder for them. So that could be what they're attempting to do. We've got Dez now bringing it up through the midfield. Has the opportunity to send it to
What a
Enzo. Dez, that was beautiful. This was perfect. Like, sniped it right past Potato as well.
What a shot from Enzo.
Not
a great
here.
pass from Dez, but he managed to get just that weird little touch that you can get. It's called a doink, where he just barely hits it off the top of his car and he gets an absurd amount of momentum backwards towards the net. An amazing shot from Enzo. Those are so hard to read. It could go up, it could pitter out, he could catch it, but he just did a really good job of turning Dez's great pass into an extraordinary goal, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. That kind of creativity. I mean, have we seen very many teams besides this team go for those kind of plays, those kind of absurd doinks?
We have not.
Air dribble, musty flick into the doink shot. Super impressive gameplay from the Spiders, and honestly, I gotta hand it to them. They definitely earned this. But gosh, I can't talk about this game without talking about the complete momentum shift between last game and this game on the Lions' end. I mean, look at how much closer this was. We didn't get we get no graphic this game, but we didn't get a graphic earlier either. But I would take a very good guess that the side control completely shifted, and that we went maybe from a 40% control for the Lions to closer to a 50, maybe a 56%, honestly, because it felt like they just did a really good job of keeping it out of their end and working together to push their offense a little bit more.
So I'm really hoping that the Lions can find what's missing, because we're nearing the end of our series here, and I want to see this go the distance completely. I want to see another 5-game. I want to see another overtime. And so far, we haven't had an overtime just yet. Spiders currently have 2 games under their belt, so they are sitting at match point. Lions can bring this one back. We could start to see the beginnings of a reverse sweep in this game, but the next 5 minutes will have to tell us what exactly is going to happen.
Already that kind of aggression from the Lions that I talked so much about earlier, pushing in the Spiders, forcing them to really work to get it out of their end. And a great demo, a heads-up demo from Potato, kind of stalls the offensive rotation there from the Spiders just that bit longer. But a tactical whiff, followed by Enzo finding an easy open net. Just leads to that kind of play. Potato not able to get a touch on the ball, just forces the open net for Enzo.
Enzo, that was a very great, nicely done solo play. I mean, all 6 of these players are capable of doing solo plays, and it feels like they're not greedy about it. When they have the chance, they'll take it, but they know not to always just go for the solo play, which is a nice thing to see in a game that, has 3 people on a team. You have those people to work together for a reason. Quez, beautiful shot on goal, is going to be saved by Trust Me, I'm Trying. Trust Me now trying to push forward. Unfortunately, though, for them, Enzo's going to steal the ball because he got pushed too far in front of them. You're making a face.
And there it is. Another fantastic passing play. Dez hitting it towards the backboard. No one's there to respond, so Quez is like, all right, free goal.
What on Quez's last goal scoring opportunity, what made you have the reaction that you had?
Oh, he came off, I believe he came off the wall. He tapped it against the backboard, almost followed it himself for this sharp, almost 90-degree, that's a good goal too, but almost a sharp 90-degree double tap off the backboard. Those are so hard to do because you can't just hit the ball. You have to get it at the sharp, kind of straight down direction. That's really hard to do, while also having enough power where it's not going to hit the ground and make it an easy save.
Gotcha. All right, currently Spiders are up by 3, and we just hit the 60 seconds down mark. So Spiders are really looking to put themselves far in the lead here and then maintain that. We have Potato save Dez's shot. Dez might spend a lot of time on the respawn screen, if I'm being honest. It seems like the Potato is gunning for them because realizing they are the aerial playmaker. But we have NNO come in with a little help from Trust Me, I'm Trying to find goal number 1.
Looks like just a little bit of confusion there from the Spiders, not able to get a touch on that ball. Kind of just the same thing that happened with the first goal. Is the people who are in the way just can't quite get a wheel on and force it to be more difficult than it should be.
And Trust Me, I'm Trying has actually been really impressing the coaches. with their mechanical improvements in the last few weeks. So it's really exciting to be able to see them play on the field. At least this is our first time getting to see them. Enzo, though, will find another goal and a hat trick. So hats off to you, our friend. Nicely done with an assist coming out from Quez.
A great double tap from Enzo, feeding it to himself off the backboard. Now that's 2 goals now scored in the Spiders' favor that were from uninterrupted backboard touches.
Once again, I don't know if you noticed, but Protato, trust me, I'm trying, we're completely boost-starved on that defense, something that they need to work on not letting happen, because it makes it much harder for them to defend when they can't elevate, they can't push themselves in the direction of someone, and they can't push someone else out of the way because they've got very little speed for them and from lack of resource in their tanks. Let's see if they can clean it up in the next 3 minutes. That's plenty of time to recognize the issue that's happening and start looking to prevent it rather than having to react to not having any resources.
Definitely agree there. Something has to change if these Lions want to have any chance of coming back, and it's definitely not out of the woods for them yet because they have almost 3 minutes to score just 3 more times. And, you know, Spiders did it in 60 seconds, so they can definitely do it in 3 minutes, but that has to come with a huge adjustment from the Lions or just a genuine throw from the Spiders.
Enzo dragging the ball down. It does hit Nano, but it gets popped into the corner. Dez looks like they're going to be there to pop it up again, but it's disrupted. So Lions definitely starting to get open opportunities for themselves here by getting those passing lanes, but they can't let that happen to themselves. Enzo immediately returned the favor. Off the backboard, is there a follow-up touch? There is, but unfortunately, Quez overdrove it. Nano now looking to play it around Dez. Kind of does, gets the slow give and the go to trust me, I'm trying, but that slow momentum allows the Spiders to get in that passing lane again.
Seeing the Spiders convert up the field now. To see the passing play, they've already started at midfield. They're starting it a little bit earlier now so they can secure their offensive pressure. Because if they waited too long like they did in past games, it was really hard for them to get out of their end. But now, in a situation like this, you can see the pass is already to Dez. They're starting the passing plays at the midfield so that they can get across and then look for pressure that allows for another passing play rather than going for these big boomers that can be shut down really early. The double 50-50 attempt there. I don't think, it's a good idea, but I don't think that will ever work just based off the laws of physics. But I like that they're getting creative with it, and they're in their comfort zone kind of feeling out what is going to work and isn't going to work still. And the demos are just another symptom of that, saying, hey, I'm feeling comfortable, I trust my teammates that are back, so I'm going to take a risk and get a demo and see what they can do with the ball.
Protato's now returning that favor and demos Enzo as well, trying to open the field up for their teammates. They do get a goal scoring opportunity and force 2 defenders out of position. Protato follows up, finding goal number 2. Right now, Protato, you're looking to try and get 2 goals per 25 seconds right now. I saw you score goals rather quickly in our previous games. Let's see if you can do it again. As a reminder to everyone that's watching, the Spiders are currently at match point. These last 51 seconds are going to determine if we see a game 4 or not.
So far, the Spiders do have to be sitting kind of comfortably, though, as they are leading this game with still 2 goals with less than a minute left, but they can't be so comfortable that they let up on the Lions, because the Lions are more than capable of turning this around and forcing an overtime that would be an ultimately dramatic end to this game.
Be very excited to have another overtime this evening, but they've got 10 seconds per goal now at this point. That's quite the task to undertake, and it looks like Quez is going to make it even harder, basically now putting them at 5 seconds per goal. Just a quick reminder, the Lions are the ones in blue, the Spiders are the one in orange, so flip the names on the scoreboard and you have the correct scores and the correct tally for the current series lineup, putting the Spiders still at match point. 17 seconds left to go. I can confidently say that the Spiders have this one on lock.
Yeah, and there's part of me that's like, yes, this is kind of what I thought. If we see the same Spiders we saw earlier, this might be a pretty one-sided series, but there's another part of me that's like, wow, I would have loved to see a game 5 here as well. I would love to see some overtimes, but I can't discount the Spiders really taking it to them and really keeping the pressure on that they've had on all day in all of these series, and really impressive gameplay from them. Really impressed by both teams.
Yes, everyone did a fabulous job. Congratulations to the Spiders on winning out that one and walking away with the championship title. Congratulations. You guys knocked the Barracudas out off their pedestal. They didn't even make it to our Grand Championship Series this week. And in case anyone was keeping track with us, our longest overtime was 57 seconds.
A short overtime.
Yes.
To say the least, which is good and bad. I mean, sometimes the build-up is nice, but you never want it to go for as long as those 17-minute ones can.
Yeah,
so.
no.
Definitely don't want to sit here for that long.
All right, so before we close out these matches, do you have any guesses for the ICCU player of the game?
Quez. I don't know. I feel like it'd be lying.
Bonus
if I
match?
didn't at least talk about Quez. Quez was definitely showing up consistently all day today. Had some amazing cherry-picking plays. A supreme mechanical player. First time I've gotten to see him. But
All right, well, I'm going to let that thought marinate because we do still have another game. We introduced this idea 2 weeks ago, I believe now. I was on desk. Yes, that was 2 weeks ago. I was not sick at home with food poisoning. We're going to have a bonus game. I'm not positive on the game mode. Production and Esports Tower kind of likes to surprise us. I mean, we saw, what, Hoops last week?
I think we saw hoops and a little bit of like some boomer ball, if I remember right. A little bit of both.
Yeah, I just definitely remember Hoops. I'm hoping that I get the one game mode that I'm really familiar with, which is Drop Shot, because that's what I like. I don't know why I enjoy that game mode so much, but it's the only one that I'm actually good at. I suck at ladder when it comes to Rocket League, but Drop Shot, I will go toe-to-toe with anyone any day, except for Baynock.
Oh, well, nobody goes toe-to-toe with Baynock.
Exactly.
Baynock, even after he leaves Wayne State University, will be a legend here.
Oh, this looks like it is just a standard match, however. Yes, so it's going to be the Lions taking on the Eagles. And we've got Cats, Nano, and Potato for the side of the Lions. And we got Gababy, Zydra, and Trust Me, I'm Trying, rounding out the Eagles roster. So shaking things up a little bit. Very interesting to see that both these roster lineups. And Cats is going to get the first goal for the Lions. That might be Crazy Cat, but I'm not positive.
Well, it was a good goal all the same. No matter what Cat scored that, impressive to say the least, because I don't think I've ever seen a Cat score a goal until now. But this Cat has some super, super nice mechanics. I can see him going through some really impressive plays off the backboard. And it's nice to see Gababy back after not getting to see him today with the Barracudas. It's nice to see how he's doing, how his games are going, and see an impressive player like Gababy play on any day of the week is always a treat.
So I've been fed some information that I actually am going to share with you guys that are watching this game, and that is that we see players right now that don't normally play for that didn't play for their respective teams in the Rumble. The players are divided into pods, and when they switch teams, it means their pod couldn't all make it, so they're a free agent that joins teams with missing players. So that's how these rosters get worked out and rounded out to ensure that we have full teams when not every single player for every team is available.
Kind of feels like both teams are just feeling each other out. Pretty quiet game so far. Cats did start out with the first goal, but overall you see a lot of respect in the midfield. Maybe too much respect, a lot of slow play. Stuff like this, where they're looking for the passing play, they're not committing to something too early. They're just kind of playing to their advantages and waiting it out and seeing how they can bait someone out.
Well, this is actually our second place game for the Octane Cup, so both these teams have high respect for one another and understand how they both play. So we've got Cats going in for the Lions and scoring another goal for themselves.
Best of one.
Lions starting off with a great lead already. Good to see Nano back as well. Didn't get to see him earlier today. But yeah, so far I would say the Lions are holding that pressure that they've kind of had a hard time holding in the last couple games for them.
Zydra tried to center that back up to a teammate, but instead it's been reversed on the back third, gets cleared out. Gababy tries to collide with Potato, but Potato is just inches in front of them. Cats drops the ball down. It ricochets off Trust Me, I'm Trying, and finds its way into the net.
That was a dirty shot to find the upper corner while having downward momentum. Really impressive play from Cats. Ooh, and a great passing play too. Yeah, the Lions are kind of all over this game, aren't they? don't feel...
It's a completely different animal than what they were earlier.
Oh, yeah,
Pun
now they're
intended.
warmed up for sure. Now they're, after facing down a team as scary and as powerful as the Spiders, they're like, all right, we're ready now. We'll show you what we got.
I mean, if we're talking like the animal kingdom here, I do feel like even though they're in completely different environments, let's disregard that. If a lion and an eagle were to go toe-to-toe, the lion would get pretty beat up, but they would probably beat the eagles. But Gababy is doing what Gababy does best and finds a goal for the Eagles. Let's see if they can do it again. They still have just a little under 2 minutes to find 3 goals. That's plenty of time to make some magic happen. We've got Zydra now looking to dunk it down to Gababy. Actually off the back wall. It might go to Trust Me, I'm Trying, but Nano's going to play it over them. Now there's no one in front of the goal. Will they find the center up? They will, but Cats will unfortunately get a whiff on it, and it's going to roll right past them.
And so far, it kind of feels like the Eagles, even though we're more than halfway through this game, it kind of feels like the Eagles are running out of chances here. They have to score 3 goals in the minute 30, and it's doable, but the pressure hasn't been enough on their side. It hasn't been a close enough game for me to really take bets on whether or not they're able to take this to an OT.
Zydra trying to play the ball around Nano, but can't. Cats now collides with Trust Me, I'm Trying. Trust Me needed to do the give and the go to Zydra faster, and now they did the awkward back pass situation, which might open up the field. Never mind. It's going to get volleyed across. Oh, Cats makes it there in time.
A really impressive save from Cats there, and I gotta be honest, I need to know who's training this cat, because he is good at that game. I can only imagine like those videos of Cats like smashing on the keyboard, and that's what he's doing, but he is doing some really impressive plays and really showing up for his team with some amazing shots, amazing saves, last-ditch efforts. So whoever's training this cat is doing a dang good job.
Oh my goodness. Perhaps they smeared some tuna on the backboard.
Very good 50-50 attempt there from Nano, getting just barely in the way, forcing them to either take the 50-50 with him or give up possession of the ball. Really heads-up decision from them.
Oh, they're trying to be flashy and go for an extra goal with no time on the clock. I think it's going to hit the ground, though, and it does. And if you could just, there were so many badges on the board for all of those players. You could just tell that they were enjoying themselves and really had kicked things into gear. To any of you who are currently watching this and you want an opportunity to be seen by expert college recruiters, talk directly to esports industry insiders like pro athletes, team general managers, and game producers, then you need to join the Esports Tower Club, where players get insider access to industry insights. And with our featured rumbles like these, recruiters are taking notice of these events as well. It's a great way to score exposure if you're looking to start your path to pro or land a collegiate scholarship. And you could have one of us two lovely people or one of our other broadcasters who are in our esports family here broadcast your game. It would be an awesome opportunities for you, so be sure to check them out at esportstower.com. All right, we're returning to the conversation, and I unfortunately do not have a counter argument. You actually took my vote because I will be honest, I have been missing Quez since Quez left. They actually, like, up until the point that they left, never missed a rumble, never missed practice. So, like, they were, like, gunning to improve and were constantly improving. And just to see, like, they took time off, and I don't know what happened, but their skill level never decreased. It only increased. And their team play, I feel like, even got better in comparison to what we used to see from them in the past. So Quez is going to get my vote as well. Ultimately, it's Production's vote, but I feel like maybe today I might actually be right, because I feel like the last 2 times I've been wrong. I actually think it might be it's Enzo. We were both wrong. All right, so the player of the game tonight is Enzo. The player of the game is brought to you by the Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central's helping members achieve financial success. Enzo is your Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game. As we prepare to close out this match, do you have any big takeaways?
Well, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here a little bit, but defense saves the day again. The team with the best offense who also managed to play some defense is the team that takes it away, and I think, honest to God, the Spiders have the best offense that we've seen any week so far.
I feel like the first game we got to see with the Spiders, definitely Spiders between the Vipers. Those two teams have set the bar even higher for what I anticipate seeing going forward from the Esports Tower teams as a whole. And I want to give a quick congratulations to all of our teams from tonight and those who participated in the Octane bracket in our Week 3 of the Spring Rumble. The Spiders, with a roster featuring a longtime Rumble favorite of Quez, are the champions for this week, and all the teams seem very close to each other with the close series all week long. Make sure to tune in next week to see who comes out on top of our Fennec bracket, and come back on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to catch up on all the high-flying Rocket League action. We're going to close out with the top 5 plays of the game presented by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your critical thinking skills into real time with more than 10 jobs offering $20,000 in bonuses, and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out to them at iGuard Gaming on Twitch.
In our basement until the